Good morning everyone, welcome to Nihongadas and welcome to our probably the first Nihongadas off-track video. Not. As many of you may know, and if you don't know you can always follow Nihongadas Twitch. I'm currently streaming Nioh on Twitch every week if I can. And honestly I'm loving every single minute of it. It's full of Japanese cultural references to the history, to the mythology. It's really nice. And this game is focused, historically speaking, on the Battle of Sekigahara, which is one of the main battles of Japanese history. It's the battle where Tokugawa Ieyasu wins and starts with the Tokugawa shogunate and the Edo period, etc. But this battle, it's a lot. It has a lot of information and we are not going to talk about that today because it might take several videos maybe. So today we are going to talk about the main character of this game. At first I thought that this main character, which is a foreigner fighting against these yokai and Japanese samurai, I thought it was a made-up character. Maybe the company decided, wow, we have all these Japanese cultural influences, what about making a foreigner who is actually fighting with them? And I started researching because it's one of the things that I love about this game. It's encouraging me to research more and more because I want to know all the references behind it. And I found out something maybe very obvious for many people, but I didn't know. And I didn't know that this foreigner, this main character, is based on a real character. You can see here the comparison. Identical, isn't it? But also when I was researching about his history, I found out that the history behind it, his background, was very interesting. So I wanted to tell you more about it. Do you want to know more? So today, let's learn about William Adams. Let's start. Adams was born in England in 1567, and in 1600 he actually becomes the first Englishman reaching Japan with a Dutch fleet. Actually that Dutch fleet had several ships, but only one, called the Liefde, is the one who managed to arrive in Japan.
During 2 years' voyage, the Hellof was lost, the trow sank, while the hope vanished without a trace. The good news of the Blythe boatshap was nothing but lies. Only Liefde remained.
Out of 100 men who started the trip, only 23 managed to arrive Japan, and out of those 23, only 9 managed to survive. So there was a survival rate of 9%. Were these 9 men okay when they arrived to Japan? Not exactly. Although they came to trade and they arrived to the Kyushu area for trading, the Jesuit priests believed that that ship was actually a pirate vessel. So Tokugawa Ieyasu ordered to have them imprisoned in Osaka Castle. As a small context note, Tokugawa Ieyasu would start being the shogun of the country from October 1600, after the Battle of Sekigahara. But this imprisonment happened in April, a few months before. So Tokugawa Ieyasu is going to be the shogun in a few months, not yet. Actually, according to the Spanish sources, technically they used the cannons that the Dutch ship had. They used these cannons for the future Battle of Sekigahara. Ieyasu starts questioning these men, particularly our William Adams. And actually he starts liking him, getting more and more interest in Adams. Why? Since Adams was a kid, he learned about shipbuilding, about sailing, about geography, math, etc. So he was quite well educated, and that education was very interesting for Ieyasu. So instead of executing them as the Jesuits priest wanted to do, he actually refused to do that. A few years later, Adams builds for Ieyasu a western-looking ship, and Ieyasu is even more satisfied with Adams' job. During the next years, Adams is allowed to trade. That was his purpose all the time. He is allowed to trade with British and with Dutch people. And all these British, when they come here, they get so impressed and shocked that Adams is actually now speaking Japanese very fluently, wearing Japanese clothes, praising the Japanese people constantly. So he's like now very involved in the Japanese culture. And as I said, Ieyasu was very satisfied with him. So satisfied that Adams keeps promoting and promoting and promoting. From just a trader to diplomatic, personal advisor in all Western culture related things. Yes, that was a thing before. Official interpreter, and finally even Hatamoto, or direct retainer for Ieyasu. But there was one little problem. Adams was married in England. He had a wife and 2 children waiting for him. So he was requesting sometimes, Ieyasu, sorry, very happy with you, thank you very much, but do you mind if I can come back? You know, my wife and children are waiting for me. But Ieyasu says, no problem. First of all, I'm not going to let you go. You're going to stay here. He actually forbids Adams to leave Japan. But Ieyasu is like, don't worry. If your wife and your children is your main concern, don't worry. From this time on, officially, Adams, the pilot, is dead. He declares Adams dead as a title. And instead, he says, a new samurai is born. He is called Miura Anji. So he basically considers the English name dead. Adams is dead. And instead, he gives him the title of samurai. And he considers him Japanese, Miura Anji. So then, he doesn't have the responsibilities of going with the English wife and the English children. You can stay in Japan forever. So he was able to earn enough money to live in Japan and live well, but he was not allowed to leave the country, probably because he was working constantly for Ieyasu. Congratulations, Adams. You just found out what a full-time job in Japan is. In 1616, Ieyasu passes away, but his son, Hidetada, the new shogun, keeps the Adams privilege as a Hatamoto, or retainer, aka he renews the visa. 4 years later, in 1620, Adams dies in Hirado, 55 years old. His grave can still be seen in Nagasaki, where he was spending most of his life. But there is something we can still see in Tokyo. I am now in Nihongadas, where he used to have a house. Even this area used to be called Anjin-cho, in honor of his Miura Anjin. The house, or Anjin-cho, are not here anymore, but Anjin-dori remains as the name of this street, same as this monument behind me, in his memory. Also, as a curious fact, Adams wasn't the only one who received homage in Tokyo. Among the 9 men who survived the trip to Japan, there was one more who wasn't allowed to leave the country, Joosten, known in Japan as Yaosu. If you've walked around Tokyo Station, you may have noticed that one of its sides is called Yaesu. This area was named after him and kept the name since then. In this station's underground mall, you can also see a memorial statue dedicated to Joosten. And now we arrive for a part I really like, the skeleton. Yay! In 1637, Japan had the Shimabara Rebellion, where many of the foreign graveyards were completely destroyed, following Christian repression. luckily Adam's bones could be saved and reburied somewhere else. Later on, during the first excavation, they examined the grave marked as Nihongadas family grave to check if there was some bones. After that, on the next excavations, they managed to see that those bones were actually belonging to a foreigner who had been living in Edo for a long time, and also whose diet was the same diet of all the Japanese people living in the Edo period. So, wow, it's very close, but we were still not sure if that person was definitely Anjin or another foreigner with a similar diet and the same situation. But finally, in 2020, 400 years after his death, the University of Tokyo, thanks to finding a living relative, managed to confirm that those bones that were excavated in the Nihongadas family grave did belong to Nihongadas Anjin or William Adams. Yay! So anyway, that's all for today. What did you think about it? Did you know about William Adams before? Well, I'm glad that I'm playing Nioh because it gave me it encouraged me to know much more about the Japanese culture and history, as I already said. But anyway, I hope you like it. As usual, if you enjoyed it, please make sure you leave some like, subscribe, share, comment, etc, etc, etc. And we will meet in another video around Japan. Thank you very much and see you everyone. Bye!